everyone, how are you guys today? You guys are live here on the Redesign with Prima Facebook group with Brandy. My name is Brandy. I'm with Brushed by Brandy. You guys can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and YouTube. If you don't already, please go give me a follow. I am a brand ambassador for Redesign with Prima. I'm also a brand ambassador for Dixie Belle Paint Company. So I'm here to paint with you guys live. It's Tuesday afternoon. I'm painting with you guys live on the Redesign with Prima group. And I have a couple things I want to do with you guys today. Number one, I'm going to show you how I clean my stencils. I'm actually going to finally clean my stencils because it really needs to be done. I hate doing it, but I'm going to show you guys how I do it. And when you're cleaning some of these large Redesign with Prima stencils, it can be a challenge. So this is one. This is their Imperial Damask stencil, and these are big stencils, and I'm hard on my stencils. I use them for large furniture pieces, and I put, hi Natasha, I put everything on them. I put spray adhesive, I put Dixie mud, I put Gilding Waxes, sea spray, paint, gold leaf, you name it. My stencils are caked. This particular one has sea spray on it from a raised stencil that I did. This one here has gold leaf with spray adhesive on it. These are a mess, and it starts building up on the stencil. See how it starts filling in some of those small details? So I'm going to clean them. And I usually will do this after a few uses. And then if you guys stick with me through towards the end, we're going to decorate this piece behind me with a little bit of Gilding Wax to show you what difference a little bit of Gilding Wax is all it takes to make. So I'm going to tip my camera down so you guys can see where I'm going to work today. And I'm working here. Let's see, I might need to go up a little higher. Let's see if I can get you guys a good view. Maybe lower it is. Okay. There we go. So I'm going to work here. This is a washing machine pan. So these are those large plastic pans that go underneath your washing machine so that when it leaks, it won't leak all over the floor. That's what I'm going to clean my stencils in. And what I have out is I use Citrus Strip stripping gel. Now I'm going to show you my way of doing this. By no means is this the only way, as with everything I show you. This is just what I do. So I'm just going to show you what I do. If you've got a better way that works for you, great. You're welcome to come on and share it if you like, but I'm going to show you how I clean my stencils. So I've got one in here kind of marinating already, and I'm going to take another one. I'm just going to stack these up. So I'm using Citrus Strip stripping gel. I'm not a huge fan of Citrus Strip for actually stripping. I think it's a very lightweight stripper, which makes it good for jobs like this. So I'm going to take this French trellis stencil. This is a Redesign with Prima stencil. And I'm going to pour out a little bit of my stripping gel into my washing machine pan. You guys see it in there? And then I'm just going to take a cheap, old, gross chip brush, because I'm going to throw this away when I'm done. And I'm going to start brushing this all over my stencil. Now I do try to keep it so only one side of my stencil is getting used. I'm not using both sides. So at least when I clean it, I only need to clean one side. So I try to consistently use just one side of my stencils. I'm going to get a little bit more of my stripping gel, and I'm just dumping it out. I don't care if I use, quite a bit of it. Like I said, all I use Citrus Strip for, I use it for cleaning my stencils, and I use it for stripping hardware, gentler jobs. I don't really consider a good option for like stripping wood to raw wood. It's just takes too long. So another thing you can do is while it's sitting in this pan, I'm not going to be able to because we're on camera here today, you can take this and put it out in the sun, and that actually helps speed up the process of it eating through all this stuff that's caked onto your stencils. I'm just painting this stripper on. And this particular one has gold leaf and spray adhesive on it, so it's pretty gunky. Trying to be gentle, not bend my stencil a whole lot. And then this washing machine pan really does help because it gives me a large basin that this can sit in. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this sit. It's not too exciting to watch me do this, but it is something good to learn. Let me show you this one. I love this stencil. I use it a lot, but look at how, see that? I think this is actually the 3D fiber paste from Redesign in my stencil. And the 3D fiber paste is awesome. It does great raised stencils, but man, it's strong stuff. It is really strong stuff. And what that means is it dries hard as a rock. Once it's dry, good luck getting it off. So I like to do this with them stacked on top of each other then too, because this is going to have the stripper from the one underneath getting on the back side of this. So any spots where it has carried over to the back side, it'll get those for me too. So I'm just painting it on. Now I'm going to show you on camera how this will pull up all this stuff off of your stencil, but I'm going to take this washing machine pan when I'm done here, and I'm going to take it outside to my hose, and I'm going to actually rinse these there. So I'm not going to try to do this like in the house with my kitchen sink and a sponge or anything. I'm taking this outside to my hose, and I'll have this basin that I can rinse my stencils off in. Get this one nice and coated, and then we'll let this sit for a few minutes, and I'll pull one out that we can come back to, and I'll show you how everything that's on these stencils just wipes off. So even as hard as I am on these things, there we go, my comments disappeared. You wondered how it was for removing paint. I'm not a fan of it for removing paint. It's very gentle. I'll use it for removing paint from hardware, but I'm not a fan of it for removing paint from a whole furniture piece. It just takes forever, and it can take you multiple applications. I like to be efficient. I'm lifting these up, and I'm just getting some of the stripper that's come through underneath so I can keep using it. But I like efficiency with my stripper. Even if it means I've got to put a mask on and chemical gloves, give me that any day over, you know, 3 applications and wrapping it in saran wrap and all that stuff that you can do to make these gentle strippers more effective. I'm spraying it with a little bit of water just to make my stripper go a little further. Citrus Strip is water-based, so it's soap and water cleanup, which makes it nice because if you use it on hardware, and like I'm using it on my stencils here, this will all clean up with just soap and water. So I'm going to let these kind of sit. I feel like I brushed over them pretty well. I'm going to let these sit, and we'll come back to it because you do have to let Citrus Strips sit. You're looking for 3D oh yes, Lindsay, you messaged me. I don't have, I'm not sure who has one. Hopefully you'll find a retailer that does. Redesign Stencils. Let's talk Stencils. So a lot of them were discontinued, but they're debating bringing some back and maybe with new designs. So if you can't find it right now, don't give up hope that you'll be able to find some of these. I know my French trellis, my link above in the post, Scrapbook does have the French trellis. You should clean your stencils within a few hours of use. Yes, that's when the products are more gentle. I usually will rinse mine, but not fully aggressively clean them. So, I mean, like this has been rinsed, but can you see it's got still some sea spray, or this is probably Dixie mud actually. Some Dixie mud on there. So I rinse them, but not a thorough cleaning. And then the spray adhesive, it doesn't matter how soon after you clean it off, the spray adhesive still will stay on there. So while we're waiting for this, I'm going to bring you guys in and let's work on this piece that I'm working on behind me. So what I want to show you guys today, last week I talked to you guys a little bit about gilding waxes, but I actually want to use them on a furniture piece. And I'm going to show you what I'm doing. So can you guys see this line across the top here? I did it in this kind of rust color. And that's because I want to pull out the stripe that's right here on this grain sack that I decoupaged onto the front of my furniture piece. My comments keep disappearing, guys, sorry. So I want to pull out this red color that's in this grain sack on the front of my furniture piece. So this is decoupaged on, but this I'm doing with some gilding waxes. So over here I use Dixie Belle paint and Rusty Nail over the top of Coffee Bean, and it looks just very organic, almost a little bit like rust. So now I'm going to show you how I'm taking gilding wax, and I'm emphasizing that just a little bit. I want to talk to you about how gilding waxes can smear and blend and all that good stuff. So the products that I'm going to work with, like I said, I've got Rusty Nail and Dixie Belle Coffee Bean on here. And I'm going to use some of these gilding waxes. And the ones I've got out are, I've got Fire Ruby, which is a bright red. Let's open them up. So this is a different use for the waxes than what we did last week. Fire Ruby is a bright red. This is just some sweating from the oils in the wax. These are oil-based waxes, and it can sweat. It's really hot. It's going to get up to 107. Baby oil might work on the adhesive. I'm sure it does, but here's the thing. You would have to scrub it. And when you've got all these fine details in a stencil, scrubbing it, you either are going to bend or break your stencil doing it. So I think this is a way that I can just brush it on and I don't have to scrub. Once that stripper kicks in, I'll be able to just wipe them. Just a wipe. This is Rich Copper. See all the orangey tones I've got out? Firebird. And oh no, I already showed you Fire Ruby. Red Amber. Heat Wave. We are having Heat Wave. I like the Red Amber a lot. So let me show you. It's a gradation of reds and oranges. If I hold these all up, I'm in the same color family with all these. Can you guys see that? I've got dark, next darkest, a medium, and then a light. And they're all in the orange and red and brown family. So then I'm going to take this, a little kitchen spatula, and I'm going to use this as my applicator tool. So these I get at Home Goods or Ross or Marshall's in the kitchen section in little kits. Melissa's making fun of me right now. Tell her stop. Okay, and I'm going to start with, I'm trying to remember which one I used. I think it was Red Amber. Maybe it was Fire Ruby. I think it was the Red Amber. Yeah, it must be because I've got the little lines in it from my spatula tool. And I'm going to take this and I'm just going to tip my spatula tool in there. Just the tip. Just so I cover the edge of it, just like that. I probably don't even want that much. And then I'm going to take it and I'm going to pull it down from the top of this, right over the top of my paint color. Let me get you guys in so you can see what I'm doing. Because I want you to see how it's just taking my paint, which is pretty on its own, but it amplifies it just a little bit. So I'm just going to take and pull it down. And I want it to be a little bit spotty. I'm going to refill my spatula here. Refilled, not very much paint. Is Melissa live right now? I'm going to get it in here up under this crevice and use my spatula and pull it down, and I'm just rubbing the front of my piece. In some spots I'm going to let it carry down a little further than others. Okay, so once I've got this on, it's a little bit sporadic. The heat from your fingers, these are oil-based waxes. They're oil-based. I can take just my fingers and the oils and the heat in my fingers, and I'm going to smear this out. I'm pulling it down a little bit, smearing it out. It's lengthening some of these drips, kind of drippy effect that I've got here. So it's painting with gilding waxes, and then it just amplified it. So let me show you guys over here, this section that I haven't done, which is still really pretty. It's just a little more subtle versus where I put the gilding waxes over the top of my paint. It just amplifies it a little bit. I'm going to do the same thing right here on this little knob. I just want to go around here. with a I like the spatula tool because it makes your application a little more sporadic. I don't want it to be smooth and consistent. I want it to be spotty. So I'm going to come over here. Actually, this section I've already done, so let's go do the other side. Pushing my stencils over. I'll come back to those in just a minute. They're still marinating. Ideally, right now, I would take that washing machine pan and I would have it out in the sun to help it go a little faster. If I let it sit too long, all that happens is the citrus strip turns into like a white powder consistency, and that's okay. It still should keep my paint nice and loose, and I can come back and wash it even if I've let it sit too long. So I'm just scraping this off. Hi, Toy. You know, I don't want it to be overtly shiny because this is not a shiny kind of piece. You look at the style of it, and then this is my finger taking and pulling that gilding wax out, pulling it down, smearing it out. It dulls the color a little bit, makes it look a little more natural and less on purpose. Yeah, this spatula is awesome. Okay, let's turn this. Don't look at my toolbox behind us. All right, same thing with my side over here. See how my colors are kind of drippy and grungy and all in the brown family? This is actually going to be a coffee bar. So that helps you kind of see the direction that we're going. Same thing. I've got my, this color I have in my hand is red amber. And these are the Art Alchemy waxes. They're by Prima. And they're available at the link I put above in the post. Hey Katie, hey Cheryl. Okay, so once again, I'm going to take my spatula, just tipping it in my wax. I mean, tiny, tiny bits. I'm barely using any. You can see why these last forever. And I'm careful on my first pass because that one's going to be the strongest. That's where my spatula is the most full. Okay, so that gives me kind of that inconsistent look. Now I'm refilling my spatula. What is this black spot on the wax? So it will, when it's hot, the colors will separate. You can just mix that back in. See, watch when I touch that. These waxes sweat. See, I can just touch that and it mixes right back into your wax. So there are quite a few of the colors that get that, and you just mix it right back in. You can stir these completely in their little pot and it will mix right back in. So now I've got way too much on here. I'm going to wipe it back in here. So I don't worry about that little bit of sweating in the color at all. Actually, I'm going to wipe this off completely because I don't want to get too much wax. Since I stirred it, I just want that little bit. Like that is all I want. How did you do the black lines? So this is done with vinegar. I did all this with vinegar. Vinegar makes the paint want to separate. And, you know, I don't want to say I just left the vinegar. I control it with a brush while it's happening so that I can integrate the colors evenly. Hey Sherry, my link above in the post, they have these. They have all these waxes. These are the Art Alchemy waxes. If you're a Prima retailer, you can order these directly from Prima too. Okay, you could also go to redesignwithprima.com and find a retailer in your area. And then I'm going to use my finger and I'm going to pull these. I didn't add anything to my finger, it's just the heat and the oil in my finger. I use lots of lotion. See how I'm making it? I'm pulling the color down a little bit. And it just kind of fades out as it goes. Looks a little bit more natural. because I don't want, I'm just using this color just to tie into that red stripe on the grain sack that's on the front of this piece, but this is not a dominant color in my piece at all. It's just an accent. And that's how even some of these colors, like this fire ruby, that are a little bit maybe intimidating to use on a furniture piece, but this is how you can use them and get some really cool looks that aren't so overt. I'm gonna flip this back and we'll go do the other side too. So across my front is done now. Across my front is done. So let's take the camera and go over to the other side. We're gonna do the same thing on this side. See how this side's a little bit different? That's the paint dripping into each other, and then I control it with a brush and you get, you know, different patterns in it. No, you spray the paint with vinegar, a 50-50 mix of white vinegar and water, and let it drip. And then I use a brush to control it while that's happening. So this is not just dripping, this is me controlling the drips, stopping them where I want to stop them with my brush. But if you just let the vinegar sit on the paint, you'll see how it makes the paint. Let me find a good spot and see if you can see it. This is what vinegar does to the paint. Makes it separate. See right there how the drips separate? That's what the vinegar does. It just makes it drip a little bit differently. This piece does have satin clear over the paint. Once I have my paint where I like the paint finish and I want to protect it and just add my accents, I will usually throw a coat of sealer on, and then I know if I'm playing around with waxes or whatever it is, I can remove them if I don't like them. So it makes me feel more free to play. So if you're feeling nervous and you have paint on your piece that you really like and you want to protect that and still be able to play, throw a coat of clear on it, and then I know that I can play around and I could come back and wipe this off if I don't like it. So now I'm using my finger and I'm going to pull this color down a little bit. So this over the top of the rusty nail paint with the red wax, it adds layer and dimension. And then I've got the sheen of the metallic with the flat of the paint. So it's that layering of the products again, the flat and the different sheens and the different colors, different color tones. So I could continue to do this. I brought out some more colors. I kind of like just this one on its own, but I could add in some, you know, dark bronze over this. In fact, I could do the bronze. Maybe I'll try the bronze. I have to grab that out of my drawer. So I like that. Okay, I am going to grab the bronze, so hang on. Okay, we'll try layering a little bit of Bronze Age with this, which is just a different color, still in the brown family. So this is Bronze Age. And same thing, I'm just going to try a spot. That's a little more dull, more chocolatey looking. I don't know if I want to dull the color. I could space it in just a little bit. Let me pull you guys in so you can see closer where I'm working. So I'm just doing a little bit less of this. So I kind of like that, I think. I like how it's dripping into the browns, still in those natural tones. It's very believable with this look. And I'm not going to do too much of this. I just want a little bit because I still really like that orange color. I don't want to lose that. But having my paint sealed makes me feel free that I can play around like this with waxes and glazes and things and not feel like I'm gonna ruin my paint finish. Come over here to the front and do just a little bit of this. Bring you guys in here. This is really subtle. I do like the layering. All right. It is hauntingly wicked, isn't it? It's kind of dirty and grungy, and it does look haunting. I've got some glazes around here and some black wax, and check out the legs on this. All of this I've detailed out with the wax and smeared it out, so it just looks kind of old, and it's going to be a coffee bar. And then check this out. When you open it, it's got my paper in there too. So this opens like a little table. Isn't that a cool piece? I love it as a coffee bar. I have to put the hardware. It's just got a single pull that'll go right here. Very dark. Very dark. I love it. I really, really, really appreciate, this is one of my customers, so I really appreciate her because she's great at, she'll send me a few pictures off Pinterest that she likes. And then I can take from there and I can usually get a feel for, oh, she likes the grungy stuff. She likes these colors. Like there's consistencies in them and I can run with that. If so, you have to give me a jumping off point on custom work and then I can run with it. So she's really good about doing that for me, and she'll send me a few pictures and then let me go at it, do my thing. We've done a few pieces together. And that's usually, those are usually the best pieces too, when they have, you know, the least amount of control. They just trust me to take those pictures that they like and pull their style from it and then run with it. That's probably something I could not teach people how to do. There's a confidence in just making design decisions. I love those customers too. I feel like I kind of interview my customers, and you know, if they trust me, that hopefully they're coming to me because they like my style and they like my taste. So if they're coming to me, they have to give me that ability to make decisions along the way. So I'm using the camera as a mirror. Oh yeah, I totally agree, Natalie. I agree with you. I think it's completely dark, but that was the feeling of the picture she sent me. Or the feeling I got anyway. I hope she likes it. She hasn't seen it yet, unless she's watching this. In which case, hi Tracy. I hope she's not, because I don't want to spoil the surprise of this coming later this week. So I like the silicone spatula because it creates a little bit of friction against your piece. It doesn't just glide on it easily. There's a little bit of friction there. It wants to stick, and so it'll kind of skip. And then it creates a little bit of texture in whatever you're putting on. All right, I'm gonna leave that. You drink coffee at that bar. Well, that's what she's gonna be serving up, so. All right, let's go check on our stencils. Or, yeah. I'm gonna set these waxes down and let's come check on our stencils now. Okay. Let's see how they're doing. Oh, my citrus strip has turned white because it was a nice thin layer. I'm gonna bring you guys down to my pan here. It's turned white on there. So I can see it. You guys probably can't. So let's pick one that's been sitting for a while, and I'm gonna scrub some of this off. Hopefully it's ready. This stuff just takes a while. This one's got some visible spots on it. This will be a good one to try to scrub down a little bit. Of course, I'm going to say wear chemical gloves. This stuff does not burn your skin though. So let's come in here and, yeah, there we go. So I'm just using my brush and I'm just going to rub spots of my stencil and it starts rubbing everything away. And I may need to do a couple applications of this, but this is just that few minutes of sitting in my pan. And I can rub that away. So I need to let this sit longer than it's been sitting in here. My corners are coming off pretty good. This was my first one I laid down. Let me grab this bottom one. I need to let this sit longer and I'm going to move it out to the sun. Prefer to not get this all over my hands. Alright, so this one's been sitting the longest. So let's come take a look at this one. Here, I'll move these out so you can see the stencil itself. I can see the gunk coming off in the bottom of my pan. This one I've had sitting for a little bit longer. Yeah, this one's just brushing right off. But see how I can just come, and then I can just take my hose and rinse this, and all this gunk is coming off. Now I use this one for a raised stencil, so I know this has Dixie mud on it. I know this has, let me get some water and I'm going to rinse a spot. So yeah, Sean only does brushes. I don't even want to do my stencils. I'm spraying with this with water so I can give you a clean spot so you can see what I've rinsed off of here. Try to brush some of this away. Now this is a pain in the rear job, but these are nice stencils. These run $30 to $50. So I'm going to flip this over because you can see some of the junk on the other side of this one. I'm just using my brush. So if I had to brush this with a scrub brush, I would probably destroy the stencil. But it's coming off. And you can see the gunk in the bottom of my pan. Spray this with water and try to get it. So if I let these sit for the appropriate amount of time, I could, in theory, just come and give these a light brushing and all this gunk would come off. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. It really stinks, but these are really nice stencils and I totally value them, so I don't want them ruined. I'm going to take the time to clean them today. I will put on my chemical gloves and hose off a whole bunch of stencils later today. Does the wax harden and stand the test of time, or do you have to top coat it? Lorraine, the gilding waxes cure to permanent in 24 hours. So if I let that sit for 24 hours, it's permanent. Now it's so little wax, I will let it go under my top coat. I'm going to top coat that because it's so little. But those waxes do cure and harden in 24 hours to permanent. I know they do because you cannot distress them off even. They do, they have staying power. So there was my couple current projects. You guys know what I'll be doing today. I'm going to let you guys go and I'm going to hop off, but thank you guys for hanging out with me again today on this Tuesday. I'm still over here cleaning my stencil. Like I said, this, let's see if it says on the package, this needs to sit for longer, 30 minutes. 30 minutes and up to 24 hours. So I'm not even anywhere close to that. That's what I mean in that this stuff takes forever. But what I like this for is I know that it's not going to eat through my stencils. It's not going to damage the Mylar stencil. So that gives me some security in that I've done this before and it doesn't eat through or damage my stencil. So I'm going to coat these, several of them in this pan. I'm going to put them outside in the sun today. I'm going to let them sit for several hours while I probably go take a nap because I'm super tired. And then come back and rinse these off and they should just like rinse away. Just rinse away. I'm just brushing it right now with the chip brush and it's brushing off. So I hope that was helpful, and I hope you guys liked decorating with our gilding waxes today. Come back next week. I'll have another project for you. My name is Brandy. I'm with Brushed by Brandy. Go give me a follow if you don't already. And thank you guys for watching.